Alrighty. I think we're live. I'm not quite sure, so I'm going to go ahead and check on my iPad. This is my first time doing a Facebook Live. Oh, yeah, we're live. We're rolling. First time doing a Facebook Live, so it's a little different. Looks like I have a lot of options here to work with. I have like a little comment box. I'm going to pull it up on my iPad just to make sure I'm actually coming through. It's cool, so I don't even know if it's going to tell me if people are in here. That's a great question, but we'll roll with it. I'm probably going to talk and ramble on for about 5 minutes before I get into the bulk of the discussion. It's supposed to be a live Q&A, as you all see from the playback, but I didn't get a lot of questions. We got 20 group members. Oh, I got 3 viewers. I don't know who you are because it doesn't tell me. Can't hear me. Great. Got you. Let's fix that. He says stud. Let's fix that. Hmm. All right. What is going on with this mic? It's not letting me switch my options, so that's an issue. That's a definite issue. Appreciate your. Oh, you got me. Okay. Dope. I think we're good. Might have just taken some time to recognize I have like a USB mic. Might have just taken some time to see that. So I'm gonna get back to my comment section. All right, I see the comments. Looks like we're rolling. But yeah, I'm probably just gonna bullshit for about 2 more minutes. Let anyone else roll in. If anybody has questions, feel free, drop them in the box. We'll get going with that. But if no one has questions, I just made a pretty lengthy Instagram post. It took me about 35 minutes to make, and it's currently sitting at 6 likes. Pretty typical for Instagram, you know. If you post a shirtless selfie, you're about to get 100. But if you post something that actually adds value and knowledge, you're sitting at about 6. So hope you guys are all having a good day. It's been a busy day for me. If you don't know, my gym flooded. Working on my clients, getting Brandon right for his training this week. It's been a good day though. Hope everybody's having a solid Tuesday evening. But of course, if anybody else is in here, it looks like we got 2 people now. It's probably gonna go up and down. Feel free to drop any questions or just talk. I kind of want these to be fun as well as informative. But I'm gonna give it like 1 more minute, and then we'll get to the bulk of the discussion, which will be about getting habits rolling. Really, I feel like people struggle with. Yeah, what up, Brandon? I think I have a delay with my chat, so bear with me as you're typing in stuff and I'm responding to it. It's probably like 20, 30 seconds. But basically, the post that I made that I was discussing earlier, I think is pretty pertinent for a lot of people because most people struggle with understanding the habit building and how long that takes and what you can do to really get that process going. I got 4 people in here. Importance of managing RPEs and RIRs. Yes, that will be a good one to talk about at the beginning, and then we'll lead into that habit talk probably about once the questions stop rolling in. But all right, Brandon has a really good point about RPEs, which for those who don't know, in your train, hey, what up, Ish? He said big support with a flex on him. I'm still trying to get Ish out here to lift. I think that's something you've implemented has increased. Yeah, definitely, man. I feel like your training's going really well, Brandon. Brandon's one of my online clients. He's over in Columbus at Ohio State, but man, he's been making some gains. So I'm super proud of you, Brandon. So managing RPE and RIR. RPE stands for rating of perceived exertion, and RIR stands for reps in reserve. So when you're training in the gym, The down low is you don't want to go to failure all the time. Essentially, that's what is going to cause you to burn out. You might be training so hard that you're not getting a lot out of your training because you can't recover. And when you're constantly training to failure to the point where you can barely get another rep or your form is breaking down, that's when injuries typically happen. Now, I will say a quick caveat within there is a lot of people don't know what true failure is. I've been training since I was 16, so like 9 years now, and I really had hardly ever experienced true failure. Um, about 3 years ago, I was doing leg press with this guy at the gym. He said, "Dude, I think you could go harder." He loaded me up with another plate on each side. He said, "Go until you can't go anymore, and then I'll basically spot you." So I had like 440 pounds on that leg press. I get to the eighth or ninth rep, and it starts coming back down on me. That's true failure. So then you want to go into a proximity of failure. Basically, RPE is like on a scale of 1 to 10, how close was that to failure? 10 is like, that was really extremely hard. I can't go any harder than that. 9 is like, I could maybe have gotten one more rep, but that was like 9 out of 10 in difficulty. Typically, you want to stay around RPE of 6 through 10. You don't want to go too much lower. If it's a 5 out of 10, you're kind of wasting your time in the gym. Reps, he said, "I'm going to, bro." Yes, sir. We'll get you out here. So then reps in reserve is a similar concept to RPE. Basically, you only want to leave a couple reps in reserve. You can think about this as leaving reps in the tank, right? So typically you want to train around 3 reps in reserve. Basically, you're 3 reps away from failure. This is still a pretty hard workout. And then essentially over time, you want to start kind of lower, maybe an RPE of 7 out of 10. Your training is pretty hard. You have 3 reps in reserve. An RPE of 7 and the 3 reps in reserve is very similar. Now that we got all that basic info out of the way, managing RPEs and RIRs is super important. Once again, you don't want to injure yourself. And over time, you're going to train harder and harder and harder. You're going to get stronger. You're going to look better. But you can only go so high with that. So that's why it's important to keep track of how hard you're training, because you're only going to go so high with your training until you basically just burn out. So then you want to reset, lower your RPEs, and increase your reps in reserve. Give your body a little break. And so maybe you started down here and you worked your way all the way up here. You take a little break. Now you're starting here. So your set point is now a little harder. And basically that's how you're going to progress over time. Because if you're constantly just trying to do more and more and more reps, more weight, more reps, more weight, you're either going to get just completely burned out. You're not going to want to go to the gym. Your body's going to hurt, or you're going to get injured. And that's one of the biggest things we want to avoid. Making sure you're staying injury free is huge. So great question, Brandon. Typically, once again, as a quick summary, you want to start at RPE 7 or 3 reps in reserve. Over the course of maybe 5 weeks, you want to get to 1 rep in reserve, or like RPE 9. Maybe you dip into RPE 10 or 0 reps in reserve, basically where you don't want your form to break down, but like your sets are extremely hard. And then once you get to the point where you're like, man, these workouts have been super crazy, I can't really do much more, that's when you're going to reset, kind of start over. Maybe you introduce new exercises into your training plan. You lower your intensity. You start that whole process, rinse and repeat. You're good to go. So you've done a really good job of tracking your RPEs and RIRs, Brandon, which I talked about on my Instagram story today for those who saw. Brandon is really meticulous about like thinking critically about how hard he's training, when he needs to push it, when he needs to kind of just put in the grunt work. And I feel like that's what creates long-term success, is just that consistency of really paying attention to those small details. It's like Coach Moss said, little things. But definitely a great question. That's a good question to kick it off. We're already 10 minutes in. Let me know if you guys have any other questions. We got 6 people in here. Appreciate you guys for stopping by. Talking a little bit about training intensity so far. And then I'm going to talking about kind of like how to form positive habits. So I'm going to give it another couple minutes here, and then we will get right into that motivation talk. But definitely, yeah, appreciate you guys for stopping by. I want to talk a little bit about the group before I get into that talk too. Like, this Facebook group is something I've wanted to do for a long time. I feel like there's so much potential within Facebook groups because people can start talking, asking questions in the comments. You can go back and forth as long as it's respectful. That's what I love seeing is people talking about how to improve their fitness. Maybe you're throwing out workout ideas, meal prep ideas. And, I'm all for talking about how to just like make the gym more enjoyable, and that community aspect is something that I feel like so far for me, I'm working with these clients one on one, and it's great. But I want like a community of people that are passionate about fitness coming together and doing the thing. That's really what I envision it. I got like the slight social media following. I got this gym that people come together in, doing open gyms, following each other on social media. But like Facebook group, it's just a great place for people to come together online. Very accessible, tons of information to be shared. So definitely feel free to drop any comments at any time through in the group, asking questions, throwing ideas out there. Share the group around with your friends, like invite some people. I'm definitely going to be more active in inviting people because we have 20 people right now in the group, and that's like a solid start. It's more than I thought I would get for sure. But of course, not everybody can make it to these lives, and some people just straight up aren't super confident in voicing their opinions in groups. So definitely trying to grow those groups and just get the ball rolling. It's going to take time. I'm really happy with the fact that I have 5 of you viewing right now, so appreciate you guys a lot. But with that being said, we're about 12 minutes in the live. If anyone has any more questions, comments, drop them in and I'll address them as we go. But I want to talk about creating sustainable positive habits to really kickstart your fitness journey, or maybe you're trying to master another concept. If you're already feeling good about what you've been doing in the gym or with your eating, there's always little things that you can do to improve that process. So we're going to talk about a book that I'm reading, which is actually sitting over there. I should have brought it over, but it's called The Power of Habit. I'm going to go grab it. You're going to get blinded by my backlight real quick, but I'm going to go grab the book because I feel like this is a really good book. It's called The Power of Habit by Charles Duhigg. Why we do what we do in life and business. And I was really, really like engaged into one part that I was reading yesterday and today. It's about this monkey named Julio. So basically, the book is examining habits, and one scientist wanted to do an experiment with this monkey named Julio. He's a little, I think you pronounce it as macaque. I might be butchering that, but he is a monkey that was chilling up in his cage, and basically they set up this experiment that there'd be a monitor up here, and he would look at the monitor and he would see shapes. At first he didn't really understand what the shapes meant, but then he understood that if he sees the shapes and then pulls on this little lever in the cage, he's going to get a drip of, it was like blueberry juice or some weird juice, but we'll call it fruit juice because I don't know, it just rolls off the tongue a little bit better than blueberry juice. So our guy Julio, chilling up in his cage. I hope you guys like my Charmander jug, by the way. It's pretty sweet. Got that sticker at the Arnold. The monkey's up in his cage. He eventually starts to understand that every time he sees those shapes on the monitor and pulls that lever, he's going to get some juice. And of course, he's fiending for that juice. He starts to do it every time. And they see these spikes in his brain waves. Like every time he's like getting a drink of that juice, his like dopamine and pleasure signals just spike in his brain. And eventually he learns that to be a habit, to the point where those dopamine signals and the pleasure signals, they would spike before he even tasted it. When he saw those images on the screen, it would immediately spike. Then he'd pull the lever and he'd get it. Now they eventually started tricking this little monkey, which is pretty messed up. What they did was they would be showing the shapes on the screen, and then they wouldn't give him juice, which is pretty cruel if you ask me. But he became depressed. He started like banging on the cage. He got real upset. So they realized like this is a really powerful thing, is when you get some type of cue, which was the monitor and seeing those shapes on the screen, then you perform that routine and you get that reward, it becomes a habit so much quicker. Another like intermediate example, smartphones started being a big thing, like 10, 15 years ago. I don't know about y'all, but when I hear a ding on my phone or I feel it vibrate, I see a little banner notification, I'm going to be on that like real quick. One is kind of like my job. I have to be in communication with people. A lot of people have that similar situation, but even when I'm not working, it's just it's addicting, which is a whole other discussion. How they've kind of created social media to keep you captivated and keep you clicking on their platform. It's a whole other thing. But when we hear that notification, instantly check an email, check the notification. The reward is like, oh, like somebody's in contact with me, or like, oh, like I got to do this, and you feel accomplished, which is that dopamine spike. It's essentially Julio the monkey's experiment in real life. So it happens to us every day, and that's just one example. It happens many ways where we get a cue, we go through a routine, and we feel that sense of reward, and it's just extrapolated into many things in life. And Charles Duhigg, of course, wants to take that process and bring it to making people more active, healthier, whether you're starting at the gym, starting to eat healthier, starting to just walk more, whatever it might be. I think that idea is really cool because it's something that's ingrained in our habits. Whether you believe in evolution or not, we are kind of similar to monkeys. So the fact that Julio the monkey could do it with the juice, that means that we can do it with starting a positive habit like working out, going to the gym, eating healthy. So what are some ways that you can make this happen? Because the biggest thing people fail at, once you're going for like a week or two, that habit starts rolling, you're feeling good about the gym, you're going to be very consistent for a long time. It's not to say that people never fall off, but man, those first couple days of getting off the couch, turning off Netflix, that's where many people face those obstacles. So what's a good example of a cue to get the motivation to start working out, right? As a personal trainer working at a commercial gym, you hear so many different like generic spiels of like, oh, once you work out, you'll feel those endorphins, you'll feel that sense of achievement. And I mean, there's some validity to that, but it's something that is kind of like driven into the ground for people. Um, in order to get there, one thing they would always say is like, oh, you can pack your gym bag the night before, so it's that much easier to wake up at 6 and hit the gym before work. You can lay your clothes out so you get home from work, change real quick, get to the gym. But as corny as that sounds, little things like that, like the cue of you taking time the night before to make it a little bit easier on yourself to get that routine going, is so much easier. Now, if you go back to my post, which I'm going to pull up right here, I posted it in the group if you want to check that. I think you can watch a live video and navigate to other aspects of Facebook. If not, go check it real quick. So in that post, I talk about Julio the monkey, which we just discussed. Talked about the example of checking your smartphone, but using the cues and rewards to create a sustainable habit. I gave the example of, and this was literally my gym outfit for today because I'm wearing the shirt that's in the picture, laying out the gym clothes. You get that cue, maybe let's say you set your clothes out and you don't really feel like going to the gym, but you get home, you see the clothes are there, you're like, all right, I told myself I was going to go to the gym last night, so I'm going to get there. You change real quick, head out the door, you're at the gym. You're going through your workout. You realize, this isn't that bad. Maybe your gym crush is there. Maybe you're having a good time working out. You're feeling good. You're moving your body. You're getting a pump. Your muscles feel good. You feel accomplished. Over time, which you can see my transformation pic there. Sorry, I had to get the eyes somehow. You're gonna see your physical progress. It's one of the most rewarding things that creates that like almost like addiction to fitness, or keeps you creating that habit and coming back. You'll feel accomplished because you're challenging your body, you're taking care of your health, all that. And then of course, as you see progress, other people start to recognize you, and that's where it's a wrap. Like when you get that praise from outside sources, like, hey, did you lose that 5 to 10 pounds? Like, hey man, I feel like you're looking a little bigger, keep it up. That type of praise and that recognition is crazy. That's what really affirms the habit. However, the struggle with that, which a lot of people see, is this isn't an instant gratification process. You have to kind of get there, if you know what I mean, because you're not going to see results immediately. if you do one workout, you're not going to drop a pound. It's not how it works. But if you continuously lay those cues out for you, maybe like you're leaving your gym bag out, you're packing your gym clothes up, so it's that much easier for you to get to the gym. Or let's talk about eating. Like you go to the grocery store and you skip the aisle with all the chips and the snacks, and instead you get some protein bars. Like you see that cue of like, hey, I'm gonna make slightly healthier choices. You get in the routine of, hey, I got some healthy snacks this week. Maybe next week I'm gonna start making healthier dinners. I'm gonna make healthy dinners. I'm gonna start meal prepping for the week so my lunches are taken care of. And then over time, long term, you're gonna be able to really get in that. You're gonna feel that sense of reward and then get in the routine and feel the habit. In terms of kind of like discussing how to persevere through the instant gratification, that's where kind of the nuance begins. I have a couple ideas because maybe you do those cues and you go through the routine, but that little voice in the back of your mind eventually starts shutting you down. How can we avoid that so then this loop can successfully occur without you falling off? Because you got the ball rolling, but now we got to keep on track. I think there's a couple of things that really help you stay on track within that first 2-3 weeks, because they say after a couple weeks, the habits formed, you're likely not going to fall off track. But I think doing a couple of things to prevent you from falling off track is really clutch. So what are those things? Getting an accountability person is very, very important. Maybe you and your friend, y'all went to high school together. You were stars on whatever sports team you played on. Let's say you did high school lacrosse, because we didn't have that in my high school, and I can't picture anyone that I'm actually using as an example. Let's say you and your buddy from high school lacrosse, you're not what you once were. You both gained about 30 pounds since your senior year glory days, but you're committed to the gym. You're committed to getting back on track with your nutrition. If one of you isn't feeling it that day, then the other one is going to be there to prevent you from falling off, right? It's really important to have, that was a silly example, but it's really important to have that voice of reason, because a lot of times people want to make little justifications for themselves. Like, I might miss today, but it'll be all right. We'll get back on track. If you keep missing day after day, maybe you miss one day this week, 2 days next week. Next week you miss 3. And then it's like, ooh, that's tough. Your week is kind of shot at that point. But having that person to be like, I hear you, but let's get our ass to the gym and we'll feel better afterwards. That is what is going to help you keep coming back and really just having that voice of reason, because it's so easy to convince yourself that you're going to be okay. This one time it'll be all right. But man, I'll tell you what, make sure you have someone there to be a support group, whether it's family member, friend, people even pay random strangers online. There's apps that will keep you accountable online to do things. Having that accountability is a very good way of making sure you don't fall off track. I want to cover one or two other ways of really fostering that sense of accountability, and that is writing your goals down, which I want to do like an exercise of like on this group having people write their goals down. And maybe you don't even share it, but right here I have some of my like Q1 and Q2 2022 goals right here on the desk. So that's staring me in the face. I am slacking on one, which is getting apparel out. Now I'm held accountable for that. So y'all will see that as it comes. But writing your goals out and putting it somewhere where you're going to see it every day is just kind of like a pestering little reminder. Maybe you're like, oh, I'm not feeling this goal anymore, but it's important to see it and constantly be exposed to it, kind of like a nagging reminder. That's a great way to stay accountable, on top of forming that community, that accountability partner, making sure that, one, you have a clear idea of what you're trying to do, and then two, you write it out so it's right in front of you and you're constantly reminded of it. That's a great way to really make sure you're staying accountable and staying on track. And then the third thing I want to talk about with staying on track as you form these positive habits is definitely make sure you have a plan of action that happens when things don't go as planned, right? So inevitably, in every person's, I'm getting a call right now. 1 second. How do I mute this? This is tough. I'm just gonna be like, I'm doing a Facebook Live. LOL. Man, what a time to get a call in the middle of a Facebook Live. Sorry, guys. Trying to make plans and I'm doing a Facebook Live. But back to the topic at hand, we were talking about avoiding falling off track, staying accountable, and I'm talking because I forgot what my talking point was. Oh, of course. So inevitably, you are going to fall off track, right? How are you going to overcome the obstacles that happen? It's important to have a plan and think about these things ahead. So I'll give like a couple of examples, right? Let's say one day you just completely fall apart with your diet. Like I'm talking off the rails. You go to Hothead Burrito. You get that margarita because they have new margaritas at Hothead. She said, so sorry. It's okay. You get that margarita. You get your burrito smothered in everything. We're talking guac, queso, double wrap, double chicken. Maybe that's what we'll get later today. Shoot. Basically, you went off the rails. What are you going to do? There's a couple options. A lot of times, unfortunately, people will just be like, I'm giving up. I messed up. Might as well give up. Don't do that. What I always tell people in that scenario is if you go off the rails with your diet, just get right back on. Like, don't try to starve yourself the next day to make up for it, because then you're in a constant negative loop of like binging and then starving yourself. Just get right back on it. Act like it didn't happen, but learn from your mistake. Maybe identify why you felt those cravings. Maybe it was like a super stressful time in life. If that's the case, find a way to deal with your stress other ways. So like when I'm deep in a diet, I mean, I'll admit sometimes I'll like stress eat. Like if I have a terrible day, when my gym flooded the other day, I had like 3 cookies and I'm on a diet, and I was like, shoot, I shouldn't have done that. It happens. Did I beat myself up about it? I was like, no, but I'm gonna find another way to cope. So last year when I was deep into a diet, what I would do is just take my mind off of it. There's tons of ways to do this constructively, whether it's working extra to try to get ahead with your job, or like I would just hop on a game of Call of Duty. I'm always locked in when I'm playing games. Talking to your friends definitely helps. So once again, that relates to the support system as well. But having plans to overcome those obstacles of like, hey, stress eating is something that I encounter a lot. What am I going to do to make sure that doesn't happen? 1, have that thing to take my mind off of it. 2, just if I do mess up, get right back on track. And that's something that I hope everybody does. Like if you ever have a goal, maybe you missed the gym, you don't go, oh man, actually yesterday I saw a guy, he can't work out for the rest of the week. So he decided to go to the gym for 4 hours and just do everything. Like homie burnt 2,200 calories. His heart rate was like 1 step. Like dude absolutely went in and destroyed himself for 4 hours in the gym. I'll tell you what, beyond like hour 2, that wasn't a productive thing to do. So to answer that question real quick, what I would do is if you can only work out once, do once in a week, do a full body workout, stay an hour to 2 hours max, hit every body part, and then just leave. Like, it's unfortunate that you can't go to the gym through the rest of the week, but like absolutely destroying yourself isn't a good answer to that question. So make sure as you're forming those positive habits, just be sure to have a plan for when everything falls apart. This is what you're going to do. That's what is going to help keep you on the track of seeing those cues, keep setting up those positive cues for you to follow, getting through that routine, whatever it is, whether it's meal prepping, working out, doing your maybe just like a daily walk, and then seeing those results. make sure you can stay on track and take some time to think about these things. Definitely a good thing about this group is I feel like it's a great place for people to brainstorm. So if you have like a recurring issue, definitely let me know. Let the group know. I feel like it's a very supportive group of people that have joined the group so far, and they're always going to be able to, you know, offer support, offer ideas. That's my goal with it. Um, yeah, guys, that's about as far as kind of forming positive habits using that motivation, which they always say motivation is great, but it doesn't stick around. Discipline and habit stick around permanently. So use those cues, use that motivation to get the habit rolling and then sticking with it. But that's about all I got in terms of that little topic for today. I'm gonna stick on here for about 5 more minutes. If anyone has any questions, please drop them in the comments. I think we got about 5 viewers. So let me know if you have any thoughts about forming those habits. If you want to offer any advice to people, if you want to drop a comment, ask a question, sound some ideas off of me, definitely do that in the comments. Appreciate you guys for watching though. I feel like this is a pretty good first live. We had a phone call, but it's to be expected. I even have my phone muted, but the laptop, I got to turn my notifications off when I do that, I guess. But shoot, guys, not seeing any questions as of yet. I think there is a little delay with my voice, so I got to keep that in mind. But I'm gonna stick on here. I'm gonna ramble a little bit, talk about life, shoot the crap, as they say, and then maybe I'll be able to hop in. My family does a Tuesday night Zoom call some Tuesdays, and I totally ditched that for my own Facebook Live Q&A. He said, good stuff, bro. Hey, I appreciate you, man. I feel like, Brandon, once again, you're a perfect example of maybe it didn't start out the healthiest when you had your big weight loss transformation, but, definitely since then, you've done a great job of staying in the routine with your nutrition, keeping your cardio in check, and definitely with your training is the one I see the most. So I appreciate your feedback. Let me know, guys, if anybody else has any other feedback, has any other questions about it, other ways that we can brainstorm to help. That's what this is all about. So let me know. I think after this, I'm going to get a quick workout. It's a late workout day for me, but a quick workout here at the home gym. This will be the first home gym workout where I'm back to it here. So I'm feeling good about that. The gym flooded last week, so it's been a whole process of power washing, drying, getting equipment moved around, cleaning equipment. It's been a whole thing. He says, can I live off... Bro, I feel like you definitely have at one point in your life. I remember... What did you love? It was like the double quarter pounder at McDonald's. That was your thing. I swear, bro. And you were just still a beast. You're destroying everybody. Could you live off of a cheese pizza every day? So there was semi just honked. There was a study where a guy wanted to basically prove that, there's so many diets out there, the keto, carnivore, vegan, everybody has their preference, and that's fine. But he wanted to prove you can literally eat anything. As long as you control for calories, you will lose weight. So the guy only ate Twinkies, and he also had like some vegetables to cover those micronutrients, but he only ate Twinkies. And while he definitely wasn't healthy off that, he did lose weight. He said, keep it simple. So, you're definitely going to be missing out on like if you're resistance training, you're probably not getting enough protein, so you can do like a protein shake. But as long as you're not having too many pieces, you technically could live off of cheese pizza. I would not recommend that. I would say if I had to, I would do cheese pizza, a multivitamin, and a protein shake, and then you'll be good. I'll never forget when a certain health teacher I'm not even going to say, a certain health teacher in Urbana school system said that a pizza was a great pre-sport event or pre-game meal. I'm like, bro, what the? Looking back on that, what the? But I guess some of us did and are going on to get a PhD at Jamin, you know. So Urbana City Schools did come through with that at the very least. But yeah, Brandon, I'm gonna hit a poll day today. Yeah, I bet y'all know who I'm talking about too. Dude, I told my roommate. I wasn't the only one that heard that. Wait, we were in the same class, Jamin. We were in the same health class because there was that one year where we had literally every class together but one class, I think. It was like 7th or 8th grade. That's funny that you told your roommate about that yesterday. That was a cap. But yeah, I got some a pull day. I feel like pretty tired from moving those mats around. Each stall mat in the gym is 90 pounds, and I've been like lugging them around to clean them. So like probably gonna switch my back and buys day up a little bit, so it's not like taxing on my lower back. But he said I remember that for real. Yeah, man, it was wild. But yeah, I'm probably gonna do like a seated row. We're gonna get some easy bar curl, easy bar curl bicep curls. Gonna do, gotta do some face pulls, some rear delt work, and then probably just gonna do like a concentration curl because they don't have a preacher curl here. So yeah, that's pretty simple. Back and buys day, nothing crazy. Brandon had legs today. I know that because I made his workout yesterday. Shoot, guys, we're about 36 minutes in. It's 7:37. I'm gonna let it roll for like another minute or two, see if anybody else drops questions. But I feel like this was a great live. It was fun. Definitely appreciate y'all for stopping by, hearing about habit formation, dropping some questions, reliving our glory days, I guess you could say. So it was definitely a good time, and I'm gonna do these on a weekly basis. Whether it's Tuesday, might have to put out a poll in the group to see like what day works best. But yeah, it was a lot of fun. I appreciate you all. I'm gonna let it roll for just a little bit longer and then shut her down for the night. He remembers that. I feel like some things in school you just don't forget. And that was one of them for whatever reason. We had a lot of things like that probably. I'll never forget in kindergarten, because Jamie was also in my kindergarten, one kid, he brought in Yu-Gi-Oh cards because Yu-Gi-Oh was the rage back then. And this teacher just straight up traumatized us all. We were like 5 and 6 years old. She just ripped these Yu-Gi-Oh cards up. I was like, damn, that's brutal. Just that was our thing back then, was Yu-Gi-Oh cards. He said, I'll be seeing you. Yeah, bro. Whenever you're in Urbana, let me know. Go get coffee, come out, work out, whatever, bro. Definitely down to talk. Definitely down to talk about movies, talk about the PhD process. Looked like you just put in your dissertation today, so that's crazy. That's got to be a good feeling. Something like that. It was a big paper by the looks of it. So, shoot, guys, I think it might be straight evil. Yeah, rip those Yu-Gi-Oh cards up. Said no, you're not playing that game. But once again, I appreciate you guys. Definitely feel free. Drop any questions for the next live. Going to be doing these definitely frequently. Share the group around. I'm going to be doing my part to push the group, whether it's through stories, posting. It was a great time with y'all, and I will catch you in the next one.